a sign for the door, and that's the original sign that was outside the door in the office. Jeremy came to me and said, I want to name the company something like Rare. And so we said, well, how about Call? And then these were all of the designs that we came up with, I came up with. And actually this idea of doing a little Pac-Man as a C is where the Core Design logo came from. And you see as they went on, they used a font called Baby Teeth, which is very close to my original. So when we became a publisher, they actually found a font that matched what the original logo was. It was actually called Rare by the time they'd gone from Ultimate Play the game.
Chi gli hai chiesto?
Ho chiesto se Rare
Sì.
si chiamava già Rare a quel tempo, ancora un'altra game, già si chiamava Rare.
Ok.
So this is what we pitched Rick Dangerous to British Telecom with. This is a design document that got us thousands of pounds to actually make the game. And as you can see, we were kind of like working out what the levels were. The fact that we had to do vertically scrolling levels, so we could do it on the Amiga and Atari and on the Spectrum, joystick moves. He did have a big stick, and we decided against that because there's no way we could work out how that worked. And then kind of the ideas for the traps, and all the kind of sketches and things that we could possibly do. That never came into the game, but the idea of shooting something in a distance. There are scans of these on my website as well if they want to have a look at it in lots of detail. But yeah, literally, this was the stuff that got us the opportunity to make a game. July 1988.
88.
So there we go. And then kind of like a little kind of a description, and that's everything. That was all of the design documentation that went into it.
You pitched these to, was it
Harvard British Telecom Software, yeah. And then we did a full game plus secondary, which nobody remembers. This is the Monty Python's Flying Circus, the video game. As you can see, the ink has faded. And in fact, this is probably the first time this has seen daylight since I put it away in this.
Did you have direct input from the group?
No, we didn't. It was just Virgin turning around wanting us to make loads and loads of mini games, and we were like, we can't do that on the Spectrum. So we came up with a way of doing a platform game. And then it's 1989. I'll skip ahead a little bit on some of these other pages. I've got the original drawings that I did to try and understand how to draw the Gilliam style, and then kind of tests for what the levels could look like, the various different bits and pieces of them. The original illustration for Switchblade for the intro. Sketches for the character. That was the end screen. This is one of my kind of like what he should have looked like if I had the sprite room to actually draw him. And then these are all the manual drawings. WolfChild. Description storyboard of what it could do. So by this point, design documents have got a little bit bigger. This is one of my animation sketches for the intro. There you can see the design for the logo, which I then turned around and put into pixels. It's quite funny actually. The design sketches. These are these are all the ones from the manual.
This is a full intro.
These are the ones from the manual. All of those and the illustrations. And then this one, Brian, who did all of the artwork for the boxes at the time, asked me, what does your character look like? And I gave him this detailed sketch saying this is going to be chrome and all that lot. He came back with this. 2 years later, I'm on a transatlantic flight, open in-flight magazine. The Kouros ad was this guy. He'd basically taken the aftershave ad, put it on there or whatever. I was like, why did he look like? It wasn't until 2 years later I discovered he just went, I'll find an attractive Muslim man and just stick him on the box with
Pubblicità del dopo barba.
And then these are the sketches that I used for, I digitized these for the intro, because of course we didn't have 3D graphics software would do it. So it was like get out the pencils and rulers, draw it in pencil, scan it, overcolour it, and get it in there kind of thing. So there we are. And so you've got the Lick 2 design stuff as well in here, which again you can see the sophistication of it, the sort of the sketches and stuff. This one was for Micro Pros. They took over after Firebird, and Tim, one of our producers on it, came up with the idea of sliding the dynamite, so we put that in, and we had the little sections of flying and stuff. Photographs in the sprite sheet, so I can kind of keep count of what all the sprites were working through. Yeah, I kind of kept all these in a little folder. I thought, well, I should bring one and show you guys what's there. So the nice thing with kind of what I've done since is I've actually had the opportunity to repaint at least how I'd have done the cover for WolfChild. So one of the Amiga magazines a few months ago in the UK did the Amiga. Amiga something or other. It's slipped my mind entirely. I actually repainted the cover, so I actually got some prints of those which I've got on sale, and a version of the Switchblade cover, which I actually must admit I did really like what Gremlin did for us. Two months. I think did I sign that one? Or sign on the inside? Website. Signed this.
This is it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thank you very much.
No, you're very welcome. I really like their cover, because I had no input on that one. But a few years ago, Pico Interactive bought the rights from Grande for Switchblade, got in touch with me, and I was like, well, I'll do your cover, so I've actually got some prints of those as well, kind of thing. So later on, I'll pull those out to anybody's interested. I've got some mini prints that for sale, which I had the opportunity of going back and repainting. And then the cover for Dangerous 2, we had no idea this guy in the realistic style was going to happen. So when the box landed, when the first game came out, we were like, what? And you could kind of understand. It's like, well, we want to make it look heroic and like Indiana Jones, not the little hairy fat guy that you kind of put in the game.
Assomiglia a lui però, eh?
Sì, perché loro in origine non volevano una figura così realistica,
And so the nice thing was when Microstyle did the second one, they went back to the original artist and got the same sort of style, and we kept the in-game all cartoony. They kept the style. When it first landed in the on the development team, when the boxes came through, we were like, no, that's not ours. So yeah, so that's kind of where
I think I saw an American version of Rec 1, and that one has kind of a Tom and the Sailor kind of character. Look at that. Is it Rec 1?
Io passerei al secondo partecipante.
Over time, I've kind of gone back to revisiting the games and stuff. And like, okay, how would I have redone them? So it's the Amiga magazine earlier on in the year. Actually, he did a feature with me, and he came and said, "Oh, have you got any artwork for the cover that you could do?" I was like, "No, but I could paint you the box art that I would have done." So that's what I ended up doing. So yeah.
I would have a hopefully signable item too. I know it's a bit of a Sunni Genesis kind of thing. No, it's not a known brainchild of yours, but it's not something I enjoy very much.
Oh wow!
Yes, specifically that's the an Italian edition of the box.
Ah, fantastic! Yes.
And don't know what you
yeah, wherever's good for you. Happy to go on the side of it. Yeah.
That's the Italian manual too. But you're credited with
there we go. Yes, indeed. Yeah, because I did a lot of the the design, the Mac and Sean were the geniuses behind it. I was doing work on design at the time at one of the titles, and they come in with this incredible 3D engine, really super powerful. And of course, back then, was it Gunship and Microprose was like kind of you've got to go fly for 25 minutes to hit the dot in the distance with a dot. You're going to shoot it, it's going to be a dot, and then you fly back. And their stuff was like you could be close up to all of the action and everything. So what I said was, was let's get you in next to the stuff, have you doing the core stuff rather than starting out here and flying in. So I ended up doing kind of the mission design, all of the intros and outros. I did the artwork for the heads-up display, but everything else is those guys and Mark doing all the placement and everything in the world.
I'm surprised that Corway aspires to print Italian boxes.
Ma all'epoca eravamo ancora un po' considerati in Italia. Sì.
Volevamo qualcosa.
Diglielo se lo vuoi tradurre quello che ho detto, magari eravamo magari un po' considerati.
What's your name, sir? Alex. Thanks a lot. We were saying that back in the day, Italian public still got a little bit of consideration for distributors and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
Despite you're not surprised I got a Italian box printed in Italian.
Yeah, taking us back to
usually you get the usual the same box, and then maybe the manual will change. Or
absolutely. It was one of those kind of words I'd say very proud of. And actually coming here and hearing about this is quite wonderful, because of course back then we were like, okay, Italian version or whatever, like that kind of thing, and you're sort of firing it off, having fun making things, but not thinking that these things will come back to you 30 years later or something like that kind of thing.
The voices in the intro are not dubbed, they're still the original ones.
Yes.
Yeah. It was still pretty cool to have this.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, really.
No,
you're
more than welcome. I'm so
Aspetta, mi voleva filmare pure io, approfitto.
Sì. Yes. Sorry.
No problema. Sì, aspetta, dopo faccio una foto. Thank you, mister. I like. Sorry, I don't speak English very well. So I like
Italian words.
Okay. I like your game a lot. In particular, this game, but I don't play it at home. Sorry. Can I ask you to sign in the inner side? Thank you. Sorry. No, questi sono però. Dove lo faccio filmare? Questo. Manuale? No, non c'è una parte bianca.
I didn't draw any of these illustrations actually. These aren't my drawings. They are these particular ones. I think that's an interpretation of. Sono quelli che ti ha fatto vedere prima.
Sì, sì.
Actually, I shall show you where they've come from. I've forgotten about this piece. It's quite interesting. Yeah. Obviously, they had the original sketches
Yes.
and drew their own version of them. So when you look at the jab, that's their interpretation of this one. I've never actually done this side by side before, but yeah, you can see kind of those are my original sketches, and then when they came along and completing it, I'm sure I've got a little rolling boulder somewhere or other in here, possibly. I don't know where that one came from. It's in there somewhere, or I used to be. Yeah. They perhaps made that one up. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, you can see where this came from, and it's nothing like my drawing. But yeah, I just I'd completely forgot about that part of things. But yeah, there you go. That's kind of like the origin of that.
Faccio vedere. Okay.
Where were you?
Yes.
I can pop him in here.
Yes.
And your name, sir?
Gabriele. Like Gabriel, but E final. E.
Just in E. Single L.
Yes. E. Okay. Keep dangerous. Keep it dangerous. Can I absolutely thank you.
Happy to. Yes,
Got
indeed.
yourself a good sign. I don't even have. Oh, è bianco, me lo faccio filmare qua. Ho tutti i film ce l'ho dentro la scatola io. O preferisco. Rimani fedele al... Sì, ma anche perché se conservano meglio, sì. Posso io, Chris?
Oh, it's indeed.
Thanks. The last one. Sorry.
No, don't apologise. I completely understand and say I'm grateful for this opportunity because I never imagined in a million years that people would even remember what I've made.
There is a lot of people remember your games. Thanks.
It's such a privilege. Not everybody gets this opportunity. And,
Poi faccio una foto. Oh, wait, there's a Microprose in your box. Sì, ho visto che c'è, non so perché Microprose. Did Microprose sign a deal with the BT at one point? Con la Fireboard adesso. Sì, ma Fireboard è fatto parte di British Telecom. Era una delle 3 publishing houses di British Telecom. Difatti, all'inizio quando l'ho presi pensavo che fosse un box di un altro gioco, invece ho visto che è proprio il suo. Whereas Microsoft is Microprose alone.
yes, yeah. As far as I understand, it was one of those kind of things that BT Fiber did their stuff, and then they passed everything on to Microprose, and Microstar was one of their labels. We had a completely different sort of set of producers at that point. Yeah, I think sort of any little anecdotes that I can tell, but yeah, we did Rick Dangerous in. Let's think. It was
87?
It was kind of 87. And it was held off and wasn't released until kind of late
88.
Yes. Yeah, it was one of the only titles I've ever worked on where it didn't go out the door immediately. They actually held on to it for quite a number of months, and so we moved on and done other titles, and then it came out, which was kind of wild and stuff. And then eventually, after a period of time, Microprose came to us and said we want a sequel, and we thought, well, instead of going straight back into the tunes and everything, let's go and parody somewhere else. And came with Flash Gordon and stuff. And then the big thing with it was the trap system, of actually coming up with a trap system that gave us a lot more stuff to play with. So for that one, Dave Pridmore, who was our Z80 coder, he said, well, I'm up for it. So he worked out this system for doing all sorts of things like stopping traps halfway through, synchronizing them, getting them to change state in all sorts of ways. Built all this system. We were like, how does it work, Dave? It's complicated. We were like, okay. So what we did was then for the next few weeks, each one of us in turn sat with him and he went line by line down his code and we translated it line by line because we didn't understand how complicated his logic was to pack all of this data in. It was like, if this bit is set, it goes up and down, but if this set and that set, you exclusive order, then that means it pauses at the end. Oh, it was just mind-blowing. So we should just work through, and it was this sort of like this magic box in all our code that only Dave understood because he'd written the editor, tested it out on the Z80 versions, and then we just took the data and made it happen and just prayed that we'd never made any translation errors and stuff. But yeah, we went on to Rick 2, put him in Teleporter at the end, and then we all moved on to separate projects. And one of the things that people always ask me is, "Is there a Rick 3?" And it's like, no, because nobody ever asked us, and we go moved on. So, but no, we're really grateful for the little place that he has. And one of the things I say is like, it wasn't until I started work on Harry Potter in the 2000s that I would be in the back of a taxi and someone would say, "Oh, you work in video games? Yeah. What have you worked on? Sonic the Hedgehog or Mario?" No, it wasn't until Harry Potter I could say Harry. Oh, and they knew what it is. Now, many years later, I'm in doctors' offices and work in video games, this and the other. And I've literally, honestly, swear on it, truth, had two of my doctors when I first met them, when I'd said that, went, "You never heard of a little game called Rick Dangerous?" I'm like, so I don't know whether it's the fact that doctors like to poke people and make them go, "Wah!" I've no idea. But yeah, there must have been a lot of doctors with a lot of time on their hands in the late 80s, early 90s, and between doing the medical degree, we're kind of hanging on to a joystick playing the game. No. Lovely to meet you all, and such a pleasure to be able to do this. And the fact that you guys are keeping these games alive for us, because ours was, we're making these things, we're putting them out there, we don't expect them to be remembered. Because something like music in the charts will always be on cassette or CD or vinyl, and games are very much a case of for the hardware, for the period of time the hardware exists, and when the hardware expires, everybody moves on. And so the fact that you guys are keeping it going and bringing new life, creating new versions and everything, it's a wonderful thing. But
Yes.
Fantastic.
Mine too.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for this program.
Thank you to you. Mr. Simon, thanks.
No, you're very, very welcome.
Ultima cosa sì. Thank you. Video. Yeah. Okay. Hey. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks. Ah, un'ultima cosa. Se puoi chiedergli se mi fa un saluto per il canale, che è nostalgicamente. Nostalgicamente. Like nostalgia. Yes.
Oh. Hi everybody, greetings from me, Simon Phipps, to everybody at Nostalgic Amente. Thank you so much for keeping all of these games and all of this history alive. It means a great deal. It's such a privilege to do this and to have been able to give you time and enjoyment, and that it then comes back to me many decades later. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you. I'm very humbled.
Thank you so much, Simon.
No, you're very,
Thanks.
very welcome, sir.